Hey, what's up? Welcome back to our CRAVE podcast, Unplugged. This is episode 3. We're so excited that you are joining us and tuning in and watching from wherever you're watching. And I got some really cool people here with me today. We're going to have an amazing conversation, and we're thankful that you are tuning in. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Today, I have some amazing people here with me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, and I want you to introduce yourself and also give me your hot take. But let me start with mine because I think it's kind of wild. My hot take is if you sleep without socks, you're crazy. Simple as that. If you sleep without socks, you're crazy. I sleep with my socks on. I actually don't do much without my socks. Do you sleep?
Wait, I don't sleep with socks.
Yeah, there's
do
something wrong.
both.
Y'all sleep with?
I sleep with socks sometimes,
I
but then
don't.
I can take them off.
But my feet get
I'm 50-50.
sweaty, I feel
It feels weird, like the friction of the sheets and the
No.
on your toes.
No.
No, I don't get that.
All right,
That's just you.
next.
Okay, I'm Ava, and my hot take is that flat soda sometimes is better than regular soda.
Explain.
Okay, so say you wake up in the morning, you had a soda the day before, so you put it in the fridge, right? And it's a little flat, like a good Pepsi or something. You have half the bottle there, and you wake up and you're so thirsty, and you go to the fridge and you just have a nice flat sip of soda, and it just heals your hydration. It's like water, but with the best flavor.
I literally feel like you might be the only person on the planet.
No, I
that
know
knows
another
that.
person. I know another person who likes it, but
Okay.
I don't know. I just think it's really good. So
Next.
My name's Dre, and my hot take is Timbs are tired and overused. We need something new.
Doesn't he wear?
yeah,
don't
you
wear
literally
Okay, but
all the
see,
time.
I don't. No, I don't. See,
Yes, you
see,
do.
I have my grails.
Okay.
They are black forces.
Okay.
Okay, they're not Timbs.
So we're done with Tim.
We're done. We're done.
I want some, so.
I was gonna say. I mean, I'm trying to rock me
I
some.
Remember
want
lugs?
some.
Do you remember lugs?
Yeah.
Bring that. Bring back lugs.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
my name's Sarlinn, and on the topic of fashion, I think that skinny jeans are not that bad, and I think it can come back.
I agree.
absolutely.
Bring skinny jeans back.
Yeah,
After
I agree.
I've bought all of these baggy pants and
Yeah.
cargos, bring skinny jeans back. I only have one pair
Me too.
of skinny jeans now, which is wild. But so yeah, we got our hot takes out of the way, and we're gonna jump into our conversation today. And as I was thinking about what this episode would really kind of be about, and who we would even have on the episode, of course we thought about you guys, but I think in this generation, something that everyone is facing and everyone is struggling with is different things that we battle, right? And I think that, as we have been using this as a platform to reach people, so many of us have battled with things. And my heart today was just that we be able to share some of the things that we battle against, and also the power that our story actually has, right? Through what we've been through what we've battled against, and how we've maybe even overcome, right? So I kind of want to kick us off with just talking a little bit about some things that we have battled against, right? I know for me, I'll just kick us off. I know for me in my life, just to be real, right, and just to be open and honest, I had a real bad struggle and addiction with pornography and lust, and for me, it was something that I had walked through from a very, very young age until I was about 19 years old, and I got saved when I was 15, right? So that tells you for about 4 years of my life, I was still struggling with that, and people sometimes think that, once you get saved, it's like all your issues are washed away, right? No, and I battled with that for a long time after even meeting Jesus. And it wasn't until I had a moment where I had to kind of come to the end of myself, and I was just tired of battling this same addiction, in this cycle. And I remember I was crying out to the Lord, and I felt like I heard the Lord respond to me. And he just said, "Brian, you're my son," and that to me was almost like a release of identity that I needed, and it changed my entire world. And now today, man, I can say that I've been over 10 years free of a pornography addiction and a lust addiction. You know what I'm saying? And I get to help other people, step into that same freedom. And so I know my story is different than you guys. It's different than other people that are watching. But what's something maybe you've had to battle against in your life? Kick us off, whoever wants to.
Okay. So I used to, as a form of self-harm, not eat food on purpose. I was in like a moment where I kind of isolated myself and I was very like sad, but I would use the form of like not eating and like on purpose just to like feel something, because inside I was empty. But like if I just felt that pain, that hunger pain, I was like, okay, I feel something again. And it just was kind of like a long process, because it started from age 12 and till 16, so it was about 4 years, and it just became kind of like a routine and habit and something that like was part of my identity in a sense, because like I would almost take pride in not eating, because I also would look at myself differently, and like the way I viewed my body, I would think that I was a certain size and think that, okay, I have to eat less. And in reality, it was just lies that I was listening to because of the isolation. It's easier to get into that manipulation. So that's something that I did struggle with, and thankfully the Lord has saved me, but that's something I had to battle with, and it was hard.
Anybody else?
I can go. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay. I think something similar to you. I struggled a lot with like isolation and self-harm, and so like usually when I was like struggling with sin, or like I was like doing stuff I wasn't supposed to, or watching stuff I wasn't supposed to, I would usually like go into my room and like stay by myself. Like I wouldn't talk to any of my family, and that went on for like 2 years. Like my mom, like she would, like we had a good relationship, but ever since I like had started doing things I wasn't supposed to, like I got really scared, and like I felt really bad, like I like betrayed her, I like let her down. And so I would like go into my room and I would like kind of hide and like just hide in my sin, and like even continue my sin even though I would like promise God that I like didn't want to. And then I also struggled a lot with like self-harm in that aspect, like kind of like harming, like self-sabotaging, like staying isolated, even though I knew like that was something that wasn't helping me at all. Like I felt like I deserved it. And so, yeah, that's really what I struggled with.
For me, I was kind of in the same boat, where it would be self-isolation and self-harm. And so for a while, what ended up happening was that, so I know myself, I've been by myself for a long time. Like I used to live in a house with 5 people, and I would still be by myself. So I had this nature of being by myself. And then when I moved out, when I started high school, I moved out of that house. I had been only with the 3 people, and it became 3 people in the household. So then it allowed me to be more just by myself, and more depressed, and more just trying to be seen over anything.
Come on, man. Praise God. So I think it's cool, man, just to hear some of you guys share about what you've battled against, right? But I think that most people, right, can relate to almost everything that we just shared. But why do you think it's difficult to overcome some of the battles that we're faced with? Because I think a lot of times we tend to hear a lot about the other side, right? Like, hey, I've been set free from self-harm, right? But what was it like in the process of that? Like, why is it so hard for us when we're facing these things, And I know for some of you guys, you can probably remember, what it was for you and how you felt in that moment, you know what I mean? So why do you think for yourselves, but also for your generation, why do you think it's so hard to overcome some of the battles that we're faced with? And it could be different things, because everybody's different, right? So what is it that makes it so hard to overcome?
I think something, at least personally for me, I think I got like really used to my pain, and like I felt like that was like something that was like a part of me, so I couldn't live without it. And so like if I didn't have pain in my life, I would again like self-sabotage and like try to create that for myself, because I felt like that was just something I needed or like something that was a part of me. So I felt like if I was without it, then I wasn't like myself, because I struggled with it for so long that like I felt like useless, or like I didn't have something without it, because I thought I was like created for pain or like created to suffer. And so a lot of the things like in the middle, I guess like I would like, it was really hard for me to do simple things, like even like brush my teeth and like wash my hair. Like I would literally like lay in my bed for like 2 weeks straight. I wouldn't shower. My mom would have to come and like help me wash my hair. Like it was really bad. And like I would brush my teeth, but like occasionally I wouldn't like do anything. I wouldn't get up except to eat, and I would like overeat, I think. Like that was something I struggled with, like my eating habits. Like some days I would not eat at all, and then some days I would eat like a lot, or like in 1 hour I would eat like the whole fridge. And like it was just something I really struggled with. And yeah, I just think it was just something I was so used to, like I wasn't myself without it.
Yeah, so people can kind of become comfortable
Yeah.
with where they are, you know, and that makes it even more challenging
Yeah.
with what you're facing. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I agree that it is in the sense that you get comfortable, because I was like labeling that as my identity, that like I'm not worth it, and that I have to look a certain way, and that I have to eat less. But also I feel like it was hard for me to overcome, because I willingly chose to keep it to myself and isolate myself. So without the help of others, like I had my family members, and they knew that something was up, and they're like, can you please eat? Like I know something, but I'll be like, yeah, I'll eat. And then when they'll go to sleep, I'll be like, all right, they're sleeping, so I can stay in my room, and I'm actually not going to go out and eat dinner because the pain's starting. So like I know I've like fulfilled what I've been like reaching like and been waiting for all day. But not having someone to help guide you and be that support to lift you up was definitely what I feel like had me stay in that place, because I didn't let anyone in. So it's not like I didn't have the support, but I willingly chose to just be closed off and just have it be something as myself, because I identified it with myself, and I'm like to be really independent. So that's why I feel like it was hard for me to overcome my challenges.
Yeah. It seems like this is a common thing that like a lot of people struggle with, especially young people, is that I'm gonna say we. I am not a young person. I'm older now. But
30.
it seems like people who are younger, you almost feel like you have to deal with it on your own. You know, like like for example, there's people there, you know, but a lot of us just choose to isolate, you know, or choose to deal with it and handle it and reject, you know, the help almost. And I wonder how many people could actually find freedom much quicker if we accept the help, you know, and the advice or the wisdom or even the comfort, you know, from our family or whoever's in your life, because God placed them there, you know what I mean, for a reason. What would you guys say, though, to anybody watching? What would you guys say to someone who's maybe struggling right now and they're in that battle, you know, and whatever it might be, they're in that battle? What would you say to encourage them, to help them overcome, to help them get out of it? You know, being in it yourselves before, how would you encourage somebody to get out of it?
I'd say give yourself the chance to understand that you're not safe in sitting in it. Because I know myself, I felt safer sitting in it, sitting in all that was happening around me, right?
Yeah.
Rather than asking for help, because I felt like I already knew what the answer was going to be. So don't just sit in it. Try to interact with, if you can't interact with the parental figures around you, try to interact with people around you, whether you're friends or not.
Yeah.
And honestly, just give yourself the chance to breathe and speak to the people around you, because when you create those friendships and relationships, they can honestly save your life.
Yeah. Dang, I love that. Don't sit in it. That's awesome. What do you guys think?
I think like understanding like you're not perfect, and like literally the whole purpose was Jesus like coming to die for us because we aren't perfect and because we needed someone to save us. I felt like a lot when I was struggling, like I would like really beat myself up if I like went 2 weeks without watching something I wasn't supposed to, and then like one day on the weekend I was like, okay, then I watched it one more time, and I felt like I set back like a whole year, and like I was like back into like the dark place I was in. So that's where like I put myself, even though it wasn't really where I was, because I felt like I had come so far, but like now I'm just like a horrible person again. I can't go back. So like I feel like knowing you're not perfect and you are gonna mess up, and like even when you are saved and free from that, it's not like you're not gonna be tempted anymore. Like the temptations honestly come harder, and so I feel like understanding that you're not perfect and you do need Jesus, and like if you want it hard enough, it's gonna be hard getting to that point, but like Jesus will help you if you ask for it.
Yeah.
So,
That's such a hard thing to understand, bruh.
yeah.
Such a hard thing to understand.
I would say that to just praise and like get into your word even when you don't feel like it, because I know for in that moment in my life I really like neglected God and just neglected like being in a community and like being plugged in. But if we just like know that God, like Jesus is sitting right beside us in those moments, but he is a gentleman. So if we have to also get into our word ourselves to make the effort, although it's like very hard at that moment, but once we like give like even if it's like 10%, he's just waiting for you to just look towards him and like accept him, because he's going to wait for you, but he will help you, but he is a gentleman and you have to let him in through the door. He's not going to come in himself. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I was reminded of the scripture in Psalms 23 that talks about, even though I walk through the valley, you know, you're with me. And to me, I just think about that dark place, right? That all of us may know that dark place and what that dark place is, right? Even in that dark place, like he's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to your point, Sarlinn, it's almost one of those things that's like, because he's so good, he's going to sit with me in my mess. But I have to allow him and invite him into my heart, into my world, to make a difference. He's sitting there with me, but I got to really invite him in to start to shape and mold me and change me, right? And rearrange some of the things that's in my life, you know? And I think that's beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful. But I also think about, too, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this, but I also think about, too, you know, we're talking about how, you know, you could be kind of in the middle and what you may be feeling when you're in the middle of it. I think oftentimes it's easy for people to see the other side because that's all we hear, and they don't understand the process and the journey. And so I kind of want to give you guys an opportunity, just briefly, to share your story, right? Because it's easy for us to say, again, hey, I'm free, or like, hey, I've walked through this and now like I've overcome it. But not everybody shares the journey. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, for this generation, we are teaching people to seek after the promise or the promise of freedom, and not teaching them how to walk through the process of getting there. And so I think it'd be really cool if we just briefly take a moment just to share our story, you know, share your story and maybe what the Lord has done. So I don't know. Somebody kick us off. Not all at once, as we smile at each other.
So I kind of briefly mentioned that it started at the age of 12, where I would just stop eating, which is like, now that I'm kind of on the other side, it's like, I realized like, why did I necessarily do that? I still don't know, but I know it was an attack of the enemy on my life and for my purpose. But during that like moment in my life, I was really sad and isolated. I was just going through a change of like getting into like middle school and like just like how like our body changes and like just viewing myself differently.
Middle school can be weird.
Yeah,
I'm just
it's
gonna
rough,
say that
but
straight up. Did you grow up in church, by the way? I'm sorry.
Yes.
You did? Okay.
And I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't enough and that I viewed myself differently and distorted in a way. And it was rough and it was definitely really hard. Like I find myself at nights like just crying for no reason and just being like, why am I so like sad? Like, why do I feel like this? But then I did it to myself in a sense. But it was until when I was 16 years old, I went on a Winterfest trip. And during like those 4 years, I was going to church, but I wasn't really there to seek him because I was neglecting God and putting other things before him. And even putting kind of like idolizing in a sense, not eating and like my body over even my relationship with God. So fast forward to age 16, I went on a Winterfest trip, and at that moment, I was still neglecting God. I didn't really want to go there, but I'm so thankful for my parents for like kindly pushing me out there.
Yeah, that's a
So,
good way to put it.
yeah, and I still wasn't really open to receive, but God works in mysterious ways because He did place a vision on one of our leaders' hearts, and she just came over to me and told me my exact situation when I said I kept this isolated. I didn't tell anyone, not even my family. So I was really reluctant in giving in because I knew it was from God because she knew my exact situation because God had told her.
Wow.
But I was reluctant in giving in because I was so comfortable in that place. And I didn't want people knowing, and I didn't want to know what it is to get back into a healthy state and really change my life. But I did give in, and I just felt like the overwhelming peace of God over my life.
Wow.
And it did take a while, like afterwards, like I still had things like my hair was falling out because of malnutrition, but like I was more intentional and like, okay, I really need to take care of my body because my body is a temple, and I'm so thankful for the Lord saving me and not like giving up on me, because 4 years, in a sense, 12 to 16, it was a really long time, like walking through it. So I'm just so thankful that like He knew like His ultimate plan. So
Yeah.
and He saved me. So thank you, Jesus.
Good.
I was at my grandparents' house for the first half of my life, right? Elementary to middle school. And during that time, just being bullied. I'm just a little kid, so I'm just getting bullied and stuff. Just not understanding things. That I'd ask questions and I'd get beat for it and stuff like that. And so then I'd stop asking questions, and I became more like I started being hardened and like be prideful and stuff like that. But then at the same time, somehow be very self-pitying, which I didn't understand why. I still don't understand why, but around middle school, I started getting like really depressed and like just being by myself and just like surrounding myself in the wrong crowd and stuff like that. And I can remember like bad situations in the household because it was very confusing being with like 3 different adults who never got along. 7th grade, I remember trying to down a bottle of pills because I was so tired. I was so tired of fighting for school, for what my parents wanted, what I couldn't be, what I couldn't, because I was set to a standard of somebody else in my life who was like a really good guy. And then after I made it out of that household, I just started going to parties, started doing all of these things, smoking weed and just doing whatever I could just to be outside. I went to Winterfest, and I went to Winterfest tired, and so broke up with the person. As I'm there, I get prayed over by 2 leaders, and automatically in my mind, I can just hear the Lord's voice saying, write out what I'm saying. And He had me write out what I spoke on the bus headed back, stating my testimony, all of that, which I never stated ever, which I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
But just automatically filled me with this overwhelming peace and understanding that like I don't have to be because it's overwhelming. A lot of stuff is overwhelming. So just I don't have to be overwhelmed, and I can just be at peace in His presence, really.
Man, let me
That's
just
good.
pause and say, super proud of you, bro. I remember when you were in middle school, actually probably your last few years of elementary school, running around the church, acting a fool, laughing, and I got a picture. It'll be so funny if we could actually put that picture up, because I have a picture of us 2
Dude.
together with braids, and I had my
Dude,
glasses
that's
on, you
so
had glasses,
bad.
and we literally looked like
So
twins
bad.
or
I know
something
what
like
photo
that.
you're talking
But
about.
I'm
So
just
bad.
super proud of you, man, and just the work that the Lord has done over your life. And I know that there's so many other young people out there who have found themselves in their bathroom, crying on the floor, looking for a reason to take their lives, you know. And I love the fact that God set you up even though you went on a trip with a bunch of other youth kids that, you know, you didn't really care much about, but God was setting you up, man, to let you know that he has a purpose for you, bro. And not only that, but he's using you. He's even using you today, man. So I'm super proud of you. But yeah, go ahead, Miss Ava.
Okay.
Avie.
So we'll start. Okay, so when I was like kind of my whole life, I grew up in I didn't grow up in a Christian household, so my mom and dad were they didn't have a great relationship at all. They were constantly arguing, constant emotional, mental abuse, and so that's all I saw growing up. And so when I was about 8, we moved here to Florida.
From where?
From New York. Yeah. Don't live there,
New York,
guys.
New York.
Don't live there, guys.
Okay,
Shout out
anyways.
New York.
So we moved from New York to Florida, which thank God, I'm so grateful I'm here. Anyways, so we moved from there to here, and we lived with our grandparents for we lived in our grandparents' house because they had a house here for a couple of years, and my mom and dad still constantly arguing and all that stuff. And then when I was about 9, they had split up in the summer, and so we came to City Life actually a month later. This lady had invited us to this backpack. Remember those backpack things?
Yeah.
So we came here for that, and then we just started going there ever since. So I've been here for almost 9 years basically, or 7. I can't do math. Anyways, so yeah, when my dad had left, I was kind of his little princess, I guess you can say. So whenever my mom had yelled at me, I would always go to him. And so when he left, I kind of felt a lot of emptiness in my heart, and I try to fill that up with a lot of stuff not in to too much detail, but obviously things watching things, seeing things, hearing things. I think one thing that kind of, I don't know, I struggled with a lot was obviously staying by myself and isolated, and I wouldn't talk to my family because I felt I had no one to talk to. And so I also felt I kind of had to prove myself because I would see my mom and dad arguing, and they would always have to come at each other and make sure that one was better than the other. And so I felt I had to live up to that and be proving myself even against my siblings, making sure I was the best one. And when things wouldn't happen the way I wanted them to, I would get really depressed, and I had a lot of anxiety. And so I remember a couple of times I have really bad allergies, side note. And so I take allergy pills.
Season
oh
too.
my goodness, it's
my
so bad.
I don't know
hate
what
them.
it's like in Florida
No,
during
it's so
allergy
bad.
season.
And so I had allergy pills that I had taken or had, and so I used to take multiple because you're only supposed to take one because they work very well. Yeah. And so I took multiple because they would make you drowsy, and so I was okay, I just need to be tired because if I'm tired, then I won't care as much as I usually do, and I won't have to strive, and I won't have to try to be perfect and all that stuff. And it wasn't until fall retreat 2023, I kind of it wasn't a set moment where I got set free from everything I'd been struggling with, but it was the days after that, and going back to school and going back to the just real life, I guess. And even though things had still been a temptation to me, I kind of had to let it go. And it wasn't one night I literally went to sleep and I was okay, I'm never gonna watch certain things again, and I'm never gonna have anxiety anymore, depression. And I woke up in the morning and it was literally God. I woke up and I was literally free from it.
Wow.
And the days had passed and I hadn't done anything I would usually do or go to people I would usually go to. And so, yeah, it's kind of my story.
Wow. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your stories. And as you may be watching and wondering what are these experiences they're talking about, like a winter fest or like a fall retreat, if you ever want to go to a CRAVE trip,
Shameless plug.
holler at us. Shameless plug. But man, as we get kind of ready to wrap up, I do want to kind of close out with asking one last question, and that is, after hearing your stories and kind of how you were brought up, some of the things you have walked through, and a little bit about where you're at now, how can your story impact the people around you? And I ask that because not only do I want to hear from you guys, but also for it to be an encouragement to other people. Your story is impactful, and it's also important to share your story. And so I want to kind of hear from you how can your story be impactful to the people around you?
Well, relating into the sense of my story, which was mainly about self-harm, I feel like if they can relate to any aspect of that, depending, because there's many, sadly, a lot of different degrees to that level, but I feel like they can relate in a sense that they can know that everyone's not perfect and we are human, but we shouldn't go down that rabbit trail of hurting ourselves because we are loved by God and by others,
Yeah.
and that we are, as the Bible says, a temple for him. And like, if you think about it, if you accepted Jesus into your heart, he is dwelling in you.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure your space is well. And also just like hearing all of our stories, if someone is touched by that, then once they overcome, then they can have the courage to share their story for other people, and
Yeah.
it can be a ripple effect. So I just think that just the boldness and courage that they can receive from it, and also know that they are loved, and to just kind of like we were all in a sense saying isolation is a big thing. So just get like plugged in with other people and know that you're not alone, and there are people that want to help you, and surround yourselves with the right people and that turn to Jesus. So
Yeah, that's good.
This is Christ community. It's a community. We were born to be able to commune with each other and to commune with Christ in the first place. So, like she said, all of us have struggled with being alone, being stuck in that place. And when you're alone, that's a bad rap because your mind goes everywhere, honestly.
Yeah.
But all you need is a conversation on a couch, really. And that can really give you an understanding that you're not alone and you're not the only one that deals with this. Like, people, could be a person right in front of you, and they're dealing with the exact same thing, maybe something a little different. Just so everybody needs somebody, and it's just a Christ community, really.
Yeah. And then lastly,
I would say your story's not just for you. Like, it's also for the people around you. It affects the people around you. It shows the people around you like what you've come through and what they can also like come through and like achieve. And so I think like realizing like not like having like pity on yourself or like not being so shameful, because like it's also helping other people, and it's not just for you. Like, God did create us to be in community with each other, and so our stories and their stories are meant to like build each other up. So like making sure like like your life isn't your own and you give it to Jesus, and so you also have to dedicate it to other people, and like your story's not your own.
so good. Well, listen, guys, that is a wrap for our third episode of CRAVE Unplugged. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. And again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We are out. We love you. We'll see you soon. Peace. That's the outro.
Okay.
Yeah.